So you're thinking about starting a business in Nepal. That's awesome. But one of the very first questions that's going to pop into your head is, how much money do I actually need to get this thing off the ground? Today, we're going to break down exactly that, the idea of share capital. We'll look at the rules for local founders, for foreign investors, and give you a clear roadmap. Let's dive in.
You've got it, right? The big idea. You're all fired up and ready to build something incredible. But then, boom, you hit that first, very real question. How much cash do I legally need just to get my company registered? It feels like the first major hurdle. And in this explainer, we're going to give you the clear, straightforward answers you're looking for.
Okay, before we even get to the numbers, we got to speak the same language. See, the term share capital isn't just one simple thing. It's a concept that has a few key parts. And you really need to understand these terms, because trust me, regulators in Nepal look at each of them very, very differently.
Think of it like a funnel. Way up at the top, you've got your authorized capital. That's the absolute maximum ceiling, the total amount of share value your company is ever allowed to create. Then, one step down the funnel, you've got issued capital. This is the slice of that authorized amount you actually offer up to shareholders. And then, at the very bottom, the most important part, paid-up capital. This is the actual, real money that shareholders have paid and that's sitting in your company's bank account. And that last one, that's the one regulators care about most.
So, look, while all three of those terms matter, here's the one you really need to burn into your brain: paid-up capital. When it comes to getting your company registered and proving you're for real, this is the number that matters. It's the proof that you're financially solid from day one. So for the rest of this explainer, when we talk about minimum capital, we're pretty much always talking about this number.
All right, first up, let's walk down the path for domestic entrepreneurs. So if you're a Nepali citizen ready to launch your dream company, your first big decision is what kind of company you're going to set up. Because believe me, the capital requirements are worlds apart.
You've basically got two main choices here. On one side, you have the private limited company. Think of this as the startup-friendly option. Way less red tape, simpler to set up, and just perfect for most new and small businesses. On the other side, you've got the public limited company. This one's built for the big leagues. It can raise money from the general public, but that power comes with much stricter rules and, as you're about to see, a much, much higher price of admission.
Now, for a private limited company, the barrier to entry is honestly super low. The minimum authorized capital is just 100,000 rupees. And remember, this isn't even the cash you need to have in the bank right away. It's just the total value of shares your company is allowed to have on its books. This low threshold makes it really easy for local entrepreneurs to get their ideas off the ground without needing a ton of money up front. But, and this is a big but, when you jump over to a public limited company, whoa, the game completely changes. We go from 100,000 in authorized capital to a minimum paid-up capital of 10 million rupees. We're talking real cash in the bank. And this isn't just some random number. It's a critical safeguard. It ensures that any company asking the public for their hard-earned money has a serious, stable financial foundation. Okay, let's pivot. What if you're an international investor wanting to bring your capital and your business into Nepal? Well, you'll be operating under the Foreign Direct Investment Framework, or FDI, and that comes with a totally different set of rules. For pretty much any foreign investor, this is your magic number: 20 million rupees. The Department of Industry has set this as the standard minimum investment you need to bring in for a single project. This applies whether you're an individual or a big foreign company. It's a way of saying that Nepal is looking for serious, committed investments, not just small-scale ventures.
But hold on, that 20 million isn't a hard and fast rule for everyone. There are some really important exceptions. For certain industries, there's an automatic route that can speed things up. The tech sector in particular often gets a break, with lower or sometimes even zero capital requirements to encourage innovation. And if you're talking about massive, multi-billion rupee projects, a whole different agency called the Investment Board Nepal, or IBN, takes over. The bottom line here? You've got to check the latest government policies because these things can and do change.
Okay, so we've covered the general company rules, and we've talked about the rules for foreign investment, but there's one more layer we need to peel back. For some really critical industries in Nepal, the general laws are just the beginning of the story.
And this right here is the golden rule you have to remember. If you're planning to start a business in a regulated field, think banking, insurance, hydropower. The Companies Act is just your starting point. The specific rules laid out by that industry's own regulator will always override the general minimums, and they are almost guaranteed to be way higher.
So, who are these powerful regulators? Well, for banks and financial institutions, it's the Nepal Rashtra Bank, the NRB, and they set capital requirements in the billions of rupees. For insurance companies, it's the Insurance Board. If you're into hydropower, you're dealing with the Ministry of Energy. And for stock brokerages, it's the Securities Board of Nepal, or CBON. In these sectors, the capital you need is directly tied to the size and risk of what you're trying to build.
Whew, okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil all of this down into a super practical checklist that can help you figure out your next steps, whether you're a local entrepreneur or an investor from abroad.
All right, if you're a local founder, here's your game plan. First, be realistic. Don't just meet the bare minimum. Set a capital amount that actually makes sense for your business plan. It needs to look credible to banks, partners, and future investors. And second, if you're in one of those regulated industries, getting that sector-specific approval should be your absolute #1 priority, right from the start.
Now, for our foreign investors, your checklist is a little different. It's all about process and getting your ducks in a row. First, budget for at least that 20 million rupee mark, unless you know for a fact you qualify for an exemption. Next, figure out exactly how you're going to get those funds into Nepal through the proper banking channels. And finally, get your paperwork in order. Your project report, your financial credibility certificate, and proof of where the funds came from, these are totally non-negotiable.
So you see, when it comes right down to it, your share capital, it's not just some number you write on a form to satisfy a legal requirement. It is the financial foundation of your entire business. It's what signals your seriousness to the world. It defines your credibility, and it's the fuel for your initial growth. So the real question to ask yourself is this: are you just trying to clear the minimum hurdle, or are you building a financial foundation that's actually built to last?